Check, check, check. Just making sure you guys can hear me. Do me a favor. If you can hear me right now, I want to make sure my sound is good. For you guys that can hear me, put a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Do me a favor. Okay. I'm waiting for Will Rogers and Sherry Mitchell. And while we wait, this is Agent Cory Banks, and this is my new series called Should My Money Be Scared? And just adjust everything here. And I created this series because there's a lot of questions that were being asked regarding real estate, the real estate industry, and a lot of things that's happening surrounding this pandemic. And I wanted to speak to some industry leaders that are doing different things in the business, from rehabbers to real estate agents to mortgage lenders and buy and hold investors. There's different people from different aspects of real estate, and find out how is the COVID-19 pandemic affecting them, or if it is affecting them. You see, we have. Let me get you in there. One moment. Will, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Wait a minute. Will, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Give me a second. Can you hear me? Yeah, we have a delay. I'm trying to get everything together here. Give me a second. Are you say something? Why? Let me switch up. Hold up for a second.
All right, is that better? I can hear you. Will, can you hear me? Let me see. Hello?
Hey, I can see you. Let me move, adjust this.
What's happening?
Hey. Where's the camera? There.
Will,
That's better. I can see Will. I can't hear him.
So I don't know if it's a situation. Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear Corey.
Wait a minute. Oh, you okay? I wasn't sure. All right. Yeah, I can hear you now. I wasn't sure what's happening. We're also waiting for Sherry. How's everything?
I can. Hey, Corey, can you hear me? Am I muted? Uh,
Yeah. Can you hear me? Wait a minute.
Corey, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Let me see something.
Can you hear me, Sherry?
Yeah, I can. Can you? Are you able to hear me?
Sherry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, can you hear me though?
Yeah, I can. I can hear you fine.
Hello? What's happening? Yeah. I think it's a delay. That's where the problem. I can. I think.
Oh,
Okay,
hey.
that's why I was trying to make sure everyone can hear one. I think Will kind of went out for a second. Yeah, Will. I think Will will be back. So, so okay. Technology.
Is it too
No, you're
bright?
not muted. I think it's there's a, and that's where it's coming from. It's just a delay. And that's where everything is coming. You know.
Mm. Phew, needs to be up.
Yeah, I see. Major delay.
Okay. If there's a delay, we need to pause in our talking, huh? Uh,
Yep. It's technology, guys. That's what we're looking at. This.
okay.
All right. So how are you guys?
Doing okay. Yeah. Trying to wind down the day to start the
How's
other day.
everyone?
Pretty good.
Hello?
Are you able to hear us? You can.
Man, this. Let
The
me
delay is
let me
bad.
adjust something really quick here. All right. Great. There we go. Is that better?
I can hear you.
Hello? Can you? Oh boy.
There's a delay.
Hello?
The picture is now, there's a delay in the
Sherry.
picture now. Yes.
Sherry.
Yes. Mm.
Sherry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. That's what's happening. Is a major delay. So I had to adjust some things. Um, how are you, Sherry?
Very good. Trying to wind down the regular work day to start the rehab day. Mm.
Okay. We just have to work. We
You
just
got
have
to
to
work through
we just have
this.
to work through this delay that we're having right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. And for the people that's watching, I apologize greatly. Um, right. Um, sometimes it's technology. You know, we've been we've been working with everything before, but now today, I don't know what's happening. But yeah, yeah.
Today's
So
Wednesday.
first of all, thank you
Okay.
for coming on. Thank you for
Mhm.
being able. Well, I'm gonna just do my best to work through it because we're here now, and we're gonna do our best to work through everything. Um, but as I was saying, thank you for and experiences and your knowledge as far as what's going on in the rehab world with real estate. Um, so with everything that's happening, let's get right into it. Right. So have have you seen any changes in your business since COVID-19?
So that's to Sherry, or well, I'll go ahead and
Yes.
answer. Yeah. Um, I have seen a difference as far as private money. I was saying that I have seen some
I
differences
have seen some
in
differences in
private money being available.
Okay. And what differences have you seen with the private money being available?
Um, Private lenders are a little leery of lending, is what I'm seeing right now, because they're unsure of the market. Um, One of the factors is whether they're comfortable and have done business with me in the past, but still it's a little restricted and just harder to convince them to move forward at this point. I'm hoping that once we get a little further into this, that they'll become more comfortable. Uh,
Hmm.
if the deal looks really solid and I'm at maybe 65% of the current ARV, then I think what I'm seeing is that there is some willingness to do some lending. They have to be very comfortable with the number and the area.
Okay. And so what's the difference of now versus before?
Before, if I said it was a deal, um, it was a deal. Some private lenders wouldn't come out to even see the property. Um, they just okay it. I'd send them, let them know what I plan to do with the property, and they were fine. I could either get in with nothing down, a first and second position loan where I come to the table with nothing, or they're financed 100% up to 70%.
Okay. And now what are the trends? I mean, outside of the lending, where they're asking for different terms or more money, things like that. Are there any other trends that you see in regards to lending on the private money side? Because I know you deal with a lot of private money.
A lot of private
Um,
money, right? It's mainly the value of the property, the uncertainty of what the ARVs will be in the coming months, um, as well as if there are going to be uh, buyers out there, and who will those buyers be? Um, the uncertainty of whether it's going to impact the availability of buyers to get funding on their end, to get to closing. But right now, and I'm on a lot of calls since this is, sometimes 3 a week,
Mm.
just discussing this with rehabbers, with banks, with folks that in the financial industry, as well as accountants, all looking at what's happened in the past, like 20 years ago when something like when this happened, there was kind of a fake bubble or balloon, and then 2005 when it happened. Um, just doing some comparison as with those kind of crashes and what's happening today, or those recessions and what's happening today, and there's definitely differences. So uh, I the uncertainty is there, but they're not pulling back as much as they have in the past. Um, I think it's I have to move really quickly with finishing up projects to get them to the market. There seems like there's still a shortage of um, good properties coming on the market. So it seems like it's still kind of a seller's market. If you can get something to the market now, there's buyers out there that are willing to come out, purchase your property or purchase my property. So the thing is being able to finding the funding to be able to keep rehabbing, because there are people out there still looking. I'd be a little more conservative, probably not go to the $400,000 rehabs right now. I'd probably stay in the first time home buyer market. Um,
Right.
because my thinking is that folks that might have been looking at 400 or 500,000, they may drop down more comfortable with 300. So that's kind of what my game plan is right now.
Now let me ask this then. Well, I see we have Will. Will, can you hear us?
Loud and clear. Can y'all hear me?
My man, technology sometimes, man, we gotta figure it out. See, and the funny part,
It's
Will,
working.
we just had this conversation earlier with Will about technology, and you know what I'm saying. And here we go. But we're asking the question right now. We're asking the question in regards, do you see any changes with lending because of the pandemic? I understand that Sherry uses a lot of private money, and but you're using hard money, correct?
Yeah, well, I'm using private money, hard money, my money, your money, all money. Anybody that's giving me money, I'm taking it.
What changes have you seen in regards to everything with the in regards to lending?
Some of the lenders are actually scared to lend right now. From the conversations that I've been having, is that they only lend into their uh, most experienced borrowers right now that actually are cash heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much ones that have set themselves up in the past that haven't been, if you've done business with these people in the past and you haven't been rushing them for draws because, you don't have assets of your own or money of your own to be able to float your projects along, you
Mm-hmm.
know, how fast you've done projects in the past, things of that nature. The ones that are very experienced and have money, they may still lend, but they changing their criteria. Before, I was getting 100% financing for the purchase and for the rehab, and in some cases they were paying closing costs. So I'm literally
Okay.
coming to the table with $0 to the table. Um, I just closed on something Monday, which was funny how I bumped into Shari. We had to settle in the
Yeah.
hallway, and that was the first time I had to bring money to the table in probably about 10 years.
Well, and real quick, tell me about that because we had the conversation earlier. Tell me about when you did see Sherry and the experience that you had with the whole closing, with this new norm that we're in.
So first of all, it was a tornado watch. So we in the I sat in the car for a minute before I came up. Then they said, "Hey, we just going to knock on the door. We're going to put the paperwork in the hallway. But you stand in front of the door. We're going to either leave the door open or you stand in front of the door. We got a camera right there, so we can literally watch you sign everything." and that's pretty much what it was. I was posted up there, and they say, "Oh, well, we have another settlement that's getting ready to come, and you need to be 6 feet apart." So I posted up in the corner, tucked away, and here comes Sherry strolling down the hallway, and we wind up both doing our settlements and conversating that way. But we both were masked up. I had on my gloves. Sherry was still trying to be cute, show her fingernails, her manicure off.
Look, leave my girl alone.
But
She guys keep it fly.
but yeah, so um, settlements are still taking place.
Mhm.
This is actually my fourth settlement since the whole pandemic has happened, and each one, was just totally different. But title companies are still doing settlements, and houses are still flying off the shelves, in my opinion.
So you're saying that you're not seeing a slowdown when it comes to deals or um, when it comes to still buying properties.
No, actually, in this market, I'm actually trying to put my foot on the gas.
Mm,
I always operate at a high volume anyway, anywhere
right.
between 8 and 15 flips at a time. So during this market, I'm hoping what happens is that since some of the lenders have changed their lending criteria, that they will get a lot of the foolishness out of the game. Um, and what will happen is the wholesalers won't have as many newbies to sell these overpriced properties to, so they have no choice but to come down on that pricing to something that's more favorable. For me, I can always make more money in a down in a bad market than I can in a good market. So
Mm. And what about you, Sherry? Have you seen any slowdown in your business, or what does your business look like right now in terms of
Uh,
deals?
well, I'm working on three right now. And I agree with Will. I think it will weed out some of the foolishness of people who are bidding these houses up to way beyond what they should be selling for. The and I would aggressively go after purchasing and renovating. The thing is just how much do I want to pay for the money? And
Right.
the cost is the cost of doing business. So I've always kind of looked at it as that it's just one of the items. Like you're buying a house, you have to buy your materials and um, whatever the rate is to get the money. That's something that has to be added into the bottom line and see if it still works. And if it still works, it doesn't matter. You just move forward.
And so, real quick, this is Agent Cory Banks, Realtor 007. And right now, you're watching our live series called Should My Money Be Scared? And I'm interviewing Sherry Mitchell and Will Rogers, two of investors that I work with in regards to rehabbing in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And we're discussing some of the trends in regards to lending since the please, guys have comments, questions, please leave them in the comment section. We have a question from Danny Bird. Hey, Danny. She's asking, what's the difference between private money and hard money?
Who wants to take
uh,
it?
you want me to take that show or you got it? What we doing?
Go ahead.
Oh, lucky me. So um, the main difference between private money and hard money is going to be private money is majority of the time is money that's in people's IRAs, kind of like their retirement money that they're lending at a much lower rate. Anywhere between 5 and 8 is typically considered private money with much more favorable terms, no points, things of that nature. These are people that are literally lending their private money that they work for that they can't touch right now, or it might be money that they have just their own. It's their own personal money.
Mm-hmm.
Hard money, on the other hand, can like I can actually take that money that I borrow, that private money that I borrow, at 6 and 8%, right? And now I can lend it as hard money, which is going to be somewhere typically between 10 and 14%, and it's going to be points in between. I mean, points added onto it. And for those who don't know what a point is, it's actually 1% of the loan amount is paid on the front end. So when you're talking in terms of borrowing money, you're going to hear a very high number and then a lower number. The higher number is your interest rate. The lowest number is your points. So
And
that's pretty much going to be the main difference between, private money and hard money.
and here's something that I speak about in one of my seminars, Real Estate into Retirement, where we talk about the more passive investment strategies for the people who want to invest in real estate, but they really don't have the stomach to. And you have people that have their self-directed IRAs or have money that's sitting in something like an IUL or some other investment tool where they're looking to get more money on more money, or not more money, a higher percentage or a higher rate of return for their money. And a lot of times they'll lend to people like Sherry or Will, because now instead of getting anywhere between maybe 3%, let's say 3% a year for on your retirement, now you're gonna loan your money to an investor. They're gonna rehab it and say, let's say they give you 10% back on the profit. I'm gonna give you 10% back in 6 months after my project is done. Now, instead of 3% for the year, you've just earned more than double that in half the time. Um, and yes, and like Will was saying, there's a lot of private people, a lot of private money people who are also taking their money and they're putting it into or using it as hard money and making more money off of their private money as well. Let me see if there's any more questions as we move on. Now, since you guys are rehabbers and we understand the courts and everything are closed, is it are you finding it more difficult to get permits, or are you having issues? Let's speak about that.
I mean, at this point, I haven't had any problems getting permits or closing.
Mhm.
It's just, yeah, we haven't yet. The other thing is we're concerned that inspections would be delayed. That has not occurred. So that's another plus. That could really hurt you when you're rehabbing, especially right now where you're trying to move forward as quickly in the market. So neither one has occurred. We're able to get permits and we're able to have our inspections in a timely fashion. I'm
Oh,
waiting on. I have to find. I don't know about PG&E yet. I'm waiting. I haven't reached that point. I'm a little concerned about that. I don't know, Will, if you can speak to that as well. If you've been dealing with PG&E.
Well, I haven't had a whole lot of issues with BG&E. I definitely haven't had any permits. I haven't had any problems with the permitting process. Actually, it seemed like it's been more streamlined than anything.
mm,
Uh, because usually, just say plumbing, HVAC, your mechanicals, right?
Yeah.
If you call, you got to call in the city anyway. If you call before 2:30, um, now you can actually get an appointment the next day. Before,
mm,
like today is what, Wednesday?
mm-hmm.
All right. So if I call today, they would normally give me an appointment for Monday or Tuesday of next week because they'd be backlogged. But right now, if I call before 2:30, they come in right out the next day.
Right.
And as far as BG&E, I do have a project that's coming up now where I have to go through new business. Um, for those who don't know what that is when, um, in my case, I don't have electric to the property now, and the property's already been fully gutted.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll report my permit and everything like that when I call to see if they was going to send me the new business or not. They saying since I don't have power running to the pole, they're going to send me through new business, and that's just like they got to get a designer to come out and figure out where they want the electric meter to go, where they want the gas meter to go, since the property has been vacant for 5 years before I purchased it. So that's always a process that's usually 3 to 6 weeks anyway.
Mhm.
So I'll see how it goes moving forward. But yeah, that's always drawn out. I don't know if it's going to be drawn out even more, but it's not going to stop my show. I'm just going to put the generator in and keep working
Exactly.
So,
because
but let's.
I can still get all of my inspections and now actually, I mean, it's no good time for something like this to happen, but
Right.
with the weather breaking, uh, even when I get to the drywall stage, I can still pass all of my inspections without electricity,
Well,
except for when I get down to my final electric um, my final electric, HVAC, and gas. But that's going to be about 60 days out anyway.
mhm.
So if we still be right within that 3 to 6 week time frame.
But let's go back real quick to the fact that you were saying, because there's a misconception right now when I speak to certain people, certain investors, and certain agents that everything is slowed down. But you're saying that in regards to the permit process, that everything is actually moving a little faster than it would normally. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's actually moving faster for me. The only difference that I can see in the permitting process is I had two things happen to me. Either the inspector, if they come in the house, they don't want anyone else in the house with them except for maybe the owner,
Right.
right? Or when I went to get my UNO on a property the other day, my use and occupancy permit,
Hmm.
he literally stood out front and told us to use Google Duo. And for
Mm.
us to walk through the house while he stood outside, and he told us pan the camera to the left, pan it to the right, and inspected the property that way.
Mm.
So,
Wow.
I mean, they are using technology also to get inspections done.
Well, with that being said, do you see that this is going to be a new norm? Because if we were moving slower before, and now we've Baltimore City has found a way to streamline the process, do you believe this is going to be a new norm and things are going to move a little faster because of that? Or what do you see the future of the permits?
I mean, this Baltimore City, I don't see them doing anything that will move the culture forward in any way possible. If anything,
I was
historically, it's shown me that they're going to do something to actually go backwards before they move forward.
man, I was hoping for some good news from you, man. I thought, oh man,
I mean, look, I'm always on a hopeful side of things, but
right.
we still talking about a city who doesn't even have rent court computerized.
Oh, don't get me started there.
So for them to do anything, additional with technology when they still using, pen and paper in loose leaf notebooks for their entire rent court system, I'm just not, believing that they're going to all of a sudden see these things as, positive and
Right.
implement them.
Right. And once again, you guys are watching Should My Money Be Scared? This episode we're speaking to Sherry Mitchell and Will Rogers. Where did Will go? What are you doing? And two rehabbers in the Baltimore, Maryland area, and we're talking about the effects
Can y'all
of.
hear me?
We can hear
Yes.
you. We can hear you. We're talking about the effects of COVID-19 that's been having on the rehab industry. Um, and but
Hello?
Sherry,
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
yeah, we can
I
hear
can
you
hear you.
as we go back and forth with technology. Well, what is? Wait a minute. He was just there. I don't know what happened. We'll be back, but he'll be back.
Yeah.
But as how about you? What are you seeing on the permit end? Are you seeing anything different than what Will is seeing?
No, I think, as Will said, that everything has been moving pretty quickly. When we call in, someone can come out the next day. Hasn't been an issue at all, and we've had all three inspections, so no problems with plumbing, HVAC, any of the mechanicals. So we've had all of them rough-in and on the rent court side, I think that's going to, if they don't automate, you're probably going to have a huge backlog. But then you also won't have any, I don't think you're going to have the funding there to automate. So
Right.
you got a double problem there. You didn't have the money before, you're not going to have the money now. Because, and then, like I said, the backlog, but no problems with getting permits. My concern, and only one, is just with BG&E and the contractors, because BG&E does have contracts out a lot of that work.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if those folks, are staying at home, if they're coming out, if they've been impacted at all. So, and there seems to be always, if you have new business, it can take a significant amount of time for them to come out and provide service.
Okay. I know it's just been so crazy, like dealing with all the different misconceptions, and these people who are running scared. What about now? We kind of talked about this. We kind of talked about this earlier. I think Will is back. We kind of talked about this earlier in terms of deals. Will, welcome back. What's going on? What is he doing?
He came and he went.
Oh man,
Oh, there you
I
go.
don't know what's. Yeah,
Look.
I'm trying to figure out this whole technology. I'm actually, I know y'all might see me keep on looking away, right? Because I have my laptop. I'm on my cell phone now, and when I got a call, it knocks me out, and I'm trying to figure out how to set it up on my laptop.
Oh, that's easy. Go to Facebook, right?
I'm
Go
on
right-
Facebook because I'm streaming it.
Go send you the message. The same place I sent you the message,
Okay.
and click on that link.
All right. Let's see if I can get this to work here. Just click on it.
Click on it, and do everything you did
Copy
before.
paste it.
I'll bring you off of here. Wait a minute.
All right. Let's see. It's allowed to use my camera and microphone.
Technology. We got this is gonna be the new norm. We got to get used to all this technology that's happening. But
Oh, hold up. So it looked like I can see myself. That is.
it's always a story with Will. Just know that we're gonna have stories.
Yeah.
But
All right.
but,
I just.
but
Turn off one.
wait a minute. Boom.
He'll have to turn off one or the other so you don't get that.
I took care of it.
Thank you.
There you go. Now turn the other one off.
I just did that.
My man. All right. Now
So y'all
let
can
me
hear me
ask
better
you.
and see me better now?
Yeah, everything is great. Everything was great before.
Oh, all right, cool. Now I'm actually on my laptop instead of
He's happy.
my cell phone. Yeah.
Oh God.
All right. Now we kind of talked about it before regarding deals. Are you now? You guys said that you're not having a problem finding deals. Where are you finding these deals? Is it still good for wholesalers to still be in the game? Are you using more creative methods of finding deals? Is it the MLS? How are you guys finding your deals?
I'd say all the above. I mean, wholesalers that have some established relationships with, um, the agents I work with, stuff is falling apart, and just look out for properties and contacting the realtor, say, hey, or a wholesaler, and saying, can you do some legwork on this particular property for me? Um, so the same. I don't think I've changed far as finding deals. I'm
Mhm.
hopeful that some of the prices will fall because there'll be less competition in the market. So I'm looking forward to that occurring. There needs to be some correction, some correction on that part. I mean, really.
And from the both of you, you've pretty much said the same thing regarding some people falling out of the market, right? And I would assume the main people that you're talking about will probably be the new investors or the more timid investors. Is that correct? But the more seasoned investors, you're saying we've been through this before. We're going to stay in it. Is that safe to say?
I'd agree.
I agree. Um,
Okay.
I really don't. I just want less people in the game. Period. I mean, I want everybody to get money. I just don't want them in my way. I don't want them driving up the prices of things. I mean, just realistically, you see these deals that, I mean, it's a handful of deals that I bid on, I didn't get, wholesale deals, MLS deals, auction deals, and then I follow up with them, and these people, they lost their shirt. But
Mm-hmm.
what it did was now it's the gift and the curse, depending on how you look at it, because now it's the new standard,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when the next person get a deal in that same area, they like, oh, well, such and such sold a deal at this price right here. This is what the market will stand for, but they're not taking into accountability that such and such lost his damn shirt,
Right.
Right.
or they if I show them the inbox messages saying, well, hey, they asking me, can you please help me? You know what I'm saying? The contract ran off. I under um overestimated the ARV and underestimated the budget. You
Mm-hmm.
know, these type of things like that. But now it's a true comp. For it means a wholesale comp, but it's still a true comp in their eyes. So, with less people in the game that will overplay, like myself or people like Sherry, just any investors that is experienced, we're gonna stand firm. My number's my number. I
Right.
always analyze deals at a lower loan to value anyway. Like I buy a lot of houses sight unseen. Um, the only contingency that I would put in there is that if there are any foundation issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I would run it off of a 65% loan to value. And if it made sense, then I could literally buy the property, sight unseen on especially on a townhouse that's anywhere between 1,000 and 1,300 square feet. I already know what the number is on that property, so I can just run the numbers pretty quickly. If it made sense, then I would just buy it.
Mm-hmm. How
So
about you, Sherry?
hopefully now with lenders tightening up restrictions and everybody don't have access to millions of dollars. Before this happened, it was like if you walked out the grocery store and say, "Hey, I'm an investor," you had people that would give you money. But
What
now
grocery
that's
store?
not the
Hold on.
case.
What grocery store
What
you
grocery
shop?
store?
Wegmans, who else?
Wegmans. um.
Follow Will to Wegmans.
Right. Look. Next. Let me know you go to grocery store next time. I'll bring my mask. Um. Do you see this continuing to be the same trend, still being easy to find deals as we move forward with the whole pandemic? Because every day something is changing. And then even with the lending, as I was speaking to a good friend of mine on Monday's episode, I was speaking to Scott Osgrove, who's a mortgage lender, and he was saying how some of these lenders or mortgage companies now the requirement for them is 660 credit score, 680 credit score. The paperwork is tightened up, um, and then just all of these different things. Um, do you see that it's gonna get harder later, or is it gonna be the same? What are your thoughts on that?
Me personally, I just brace for. I mean, with anything, I got to make an adjustment. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to still continue to do my deals. Actually, I prefer to have um, a buyer with a 660 to a 680 credit score anyway. These ones that were uh, at, I think before, which you had to have a 580 before
Mm-hmm.
you could get a loan, or 560 or something like that.
Right.
These are the deals that were more likely to fall apart at the table anyway. So we got more qualified buyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have less houses on the market, which for me is a good thing. Even when there was a lot of houses on the market, it still didn't bother me. Majority of my houses went under contract within, you know, 5 to 14 days anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But um, you know, whether it's an up market or a down market, if you're an investor, you just have to make all the adjustments. So instead of I may not do 15 rehabs at one time, but I know I'll still keep 8, just as a precautionary to just see, even myself, I'm moving full steam ahead, but I'm still, instead of running into the dark alley, I'm walking and I got a flashlight, but I'm
Right.
still walking into the alley,
Right.
So, before everybody was just, full steam ahead. They put something on the market that was selling for almost top dollar,
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature. But now you have to, I think still for the ones that are able to push ahead, I think we're going to come out on top. You're going to have bigger profit margins and everything.
Well, and that was going to bring me to another question because I know both of you guys have a similar rehab style and the way you're able to get more money for your deals because of designers, rehab designers like Sherry and Catherine doing amazing work on the rehabs, and because of that, you
Oh,
guys.
I noticed how you left Will out of that. I
You
noticed
know,
how you said
hold up,
you
hold
said
up, hold
Shari
up.
and Catherine.
I
Which I'm
look.
not going to take
I
anything
thought
away
about it.
from you ladies
I
because
thought about it.
I will say I take a lot of I ain't gonna say I take a lot, but I surely take my fair share of Catherine's ideas, right? And
Right.
keeping it to my own. But I wasn't really feeling how it was left out of there. Like I don't hold my
I,
own
I
ground.
thought about it after I saw it, but you're right. You're right because we had those conversations where you do a lot of your own designs and how you um. I think you said you described it as putting a puzzle together, like because you used to put. I remember.
Absolutely.
See, I remember.
Okay. Yeah.
I got to dig myself up, real quick,
Don't
All right.
hurt his feelings now.
exactly. I don't want to hurt
Will
Will's
getting in his
feelings.
rehab feelings.
Yeah, don't leave me out, man. You're gonna give credit. Make sure I get my fair share. I don't even know if I'm gonna last, but
Look, just as long as you call my name. But
right, just call it.
are you guys still gonna continue that because you're able? And I'm not gonna tell the secrets because we had conversations. I'm not gonna talk about your secrets on here, but you've been able to get more than what the normal ARV for a lot of these properties because of those rehabs. Um,
Right.
are you guys gonna continue to do it that way? And if you do you see a decline in the or a difference in how you're going to do your pricing when you put the properties to market
Well, I
I
just
I don't see
go
it.
ahead. Go ahead,
You
Shy.
know.
Ladies
Uh,
first, of course.
after
you
he
know,
fussed everybody out?
right. No, I don't see making a change. I mean, the product that I put out and Catherine and Will put out, it's our product.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that it's it's competitive. We know it sells. We know it works. I don't see me changing what I'm putting out on the market. I have a formula. It works. The contractors, the main ones I work with, they're familiar with it. So if I was going to make a change, it would be re-educating, and don't want to go through doing that either.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think moving forward with there being, at least I see there being less houses on the market, right? So we may be able to push the envelope on our ARVs, and maybe even if the market does slip a
Mm-hmm.
little, um, we could probably be at the same amount that others used to sell at,
Okay.
um, or potentially still pushing the
Right.
market because limited supply. And I agree with Will that as far as buyers being able to qualify for loans, if the FICO score has to be higher, that's great. But
Mm-hmm.
people that will be on the market are going to be well positioned, better positioned um, to be able to get to the table and close.
And real quick, once again, this is Agent Cory Banks, Realtor 007, and right now you're watching an episode of Should My Money Be Scared? And we're speaking with Sherry Mitchell and Will Rogers, two rehabbers in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And I also want to shout out a few people that's on the broadcast. Benjamin, what's up, man? Denise, Danny, Frank, Hey Tammy. Hey Betty. Um, we have Raymond. What's up, Corey? And Mr. Jones, what's happening? Now going with going back, since you guys are saying that deals are still happening for you guys. You don't see there's a change, and there's not going to be a change in the way you price your properties when they go to market. Do you see this being a seller's market or a buyer's market moving forward in this pandemic that we're in?
Um, that's kind of tough to say. I will say right now, I believe it's still a seller's market. Since the pandemic happened, I've put out three properties. I'm actually going to be dropping something new tomorrow morning. So this will be my fourth. But the three properties that I put under contract, I literally had multiple offers on them um, within 3 days.
Oh, okay.
So,
So they're not sitting on the market then, because that was
so
one of my
not
next
I
questions.
dropped one at 160, one at 250, one at 350.
Okay.
And the 250 went under contract uh, within 48 hours. The one for 350 went under contract in 5 days. We had multiple offers and actually got 15 grand above list price. So I
Mm-hmm.
dropped at 350. They came in at 365. So and then 7 days later, the one that I dropped for 160 went under contract. So I'm still going to push the envelope to see if what the market can bear. With the property that I'm dropping tomorrow, I'm dropping it at 199. The property directly across the street from me sold for 165, but I believe with my design choices and my layout that I have a much better product. I have about 250 more square feet, and I'm just going to push the envelope and let the market tell me that either I'm too high or I'm just right.
And that well, go ahead, Sherry. Did you want to add to that?
Oh, oh no, I was going to say, I posted something today that said being decisive and not impulsive. That
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we as rehabbers are putting our products on the market should just start lowering or coming in at a lower RV just because people are running scared or making comments, but don't have anything to base it on. If we have viable comps and the market has not shown that there is a turn, I don't think we should just be impulsive to start reacting to something that's not real. We should base it on our product, the comps, and then we can, lower our price or adjust our price if it's warranted. But don't
Mm-hmm.
make sense before we see something happening on the market.
And that makes me ask the question because both of you, it seems like both of you are kind of similar in what you're saying as far as I'm not slowing down, I'm moving forward. And I, my question would be to that is is that because of the type of financing that you guys use, or would you suggest everybody to still move forward? Because you have some people who are kind of falling back, um, and it is due to financing in some instances. Um, would you should I can't get my words out? Would you suggest for people to move forward, or like what are your suggestions?
I think if you've been in the game, then stay in the game. If you haven't, then this might be a time that you need to sit on the sidelines, maybe educate yourself a little more,
Mm-hmm.
build a more successful team so that you are in a better position when things change. Or if you have funding to become a lender,
Mm-hmm.
Give the
you
money
know,
all to Will Rogers, and then I'll share some with Sherry.
Well, let's talk about that real quick because it's something I want to put out. Um, and I believe was it SBA? You guys can help me if you know about it. I believe SBA they is where you can, and I was talking about this with one of my business partner Kelvin, and but they put out um, a new product, or they added something to the CARES Act where you could pull out up to 100,000 from your um, pull up pull out up to 100,000 from your 401k without penalty.
without penalty.
Right?
Yes.
Did you hear about that?
Yes.
And the reason why I bring that up is because some people they still want to invest, and they're still they're thinking, okay, what can I do with my money? Now, if you have 100,000 or less, and you're looking for a place to invest your money, and you're saying, well, hey Will, hey Sherry, I want to get 10% or whatever the terms would be. Can you invest my money in one of your properties? Would you guys suggest something like that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I'm just.
So how much you got yours that you can pull out that you will slide this way?
I thought I sent it over to you already.
Oh no, it ain't
Did
hit
it,
yet. It's after
look.
5 o'clock, so I don't think the wire's coming through, young man.
Oh, I sent it through Cash App.
You definitely want to
Let's
wait
wait
a
on
few
that one.
days.
But let me know.
Yeah.
Let me know when that Cash App hit for you.
Okay. I'm
Um.
about to send you a request right now, just in case, you know.
So, but
Will's taking all the money.
right. Will he's like, I came in here with some money. I look. I hear you, brother. Um.
Mhm.
What to those rehabbers that's out there that's kind of sitting on the fence, like, I don't really know. I don't know. They're kind of sitting scared. What would you suggest to them right now?
I think Sherry hit it
It-
right on the nose. The more so educate yourself, right? Now is the
Mm-hmm.
time where as though um realistically, I want everybody to win, right?
Right.
So the best advice I can give to anyone right now who finds themselves in a tight spot, like if you used to having access to money and it's not there, now's the time to educate yourself on how to get more private lenders. There are tons of people out here that doing videos like this, Zoom calls and everything like that that are giving you scripts on how to approach people with money. Now, you know, uh, might be a good time to even partner up with people.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you got to bring more money. I've heard a good buddy of mine was in a jam. They needed some money ASAP within like 3 days. So they found a lender that was loaning at 50% LTV,
Mm-hmm.
10 and 3, and they had to come to the table with a lot of money. But at the same time, you know, it's better to get some money than no money. So if
Right.
you team up with somebody, like for instance, if I didn't have, a whole lot going on, but I had money and Shari had deals but couldn't find money, I'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, let's partner, because it's better to get, 20 grand off a deal than to get nothing.
Right.
And I'm glad you said that. And real quick, again, if you're watching the video right now, please send me your comments, send me any questions that you may have for Sherry or Will. But I'm glad you said that, because of the fact that, of course, me and my partner Charles Blair, we talk to people all the time, and one of the biggest things we talk about um, is partnerships. And a lot of people don't really think about it from that perspective. So, right, if I have a property and you're looking for a deal, but I want to do we are both rehabbers, you have the money. Let's talk about that. You know, but for those people who are looking for money, where can they find private money? If I'm a rehabber and I'm looking for someone with private money, tell me where you can find private money.
Well, I I have a different view. I look at everybody's got money. That's
Right,
that. I start from that standpoint that everybody's got money. Um,
right.
and so I'm getting on the phone and starting either at the top of my contact list and working down, or the bottom and working up,
Mm-hmm.
and just it's fun to me at this point. The first time I did it, it took a while, but by the third call, I was excited, and I think it's a perspective that you're not calling to ask for money, you're calling to make somebody money.
Okay.
I'm calling you and saying, hey, I'm gonna pay you, 6%. What are you getting on
Right.
your money now? Point
So,
one.
well, what is that conversation like then? If you were to call me right now, if it's a secret, if it's a trade, if one of your trade secrets, Look, I understand. Say, Corey, shut up. Yeah, we talk about it later, right?
No,
But but you were to call me and ask me for money with that same philosophy that you're calling to make me money. What does that conversation look like?
like I have a deal, and I say I'm looking for X amount. Um, would you be interested in lending, or do you know anybody who may?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm quiet, and they think a little bit, and I'm like, well, sometimes it's thanks for thinking about me. Um, or sometimes it's thanks for thinking about me and I got the money. Sometimes it's thanks for thinking about me and hey, I think I have somebody you might want to talk to. Let me get a hold of them. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
I'll call you tomorrow because I'm gonna call them tomorrow to find out did they follow up with that individual. And a lot of times that's where the private money has come from. I've gotten some context that way. Sometimes it's, well, I have, 30. Is there anything that you can do with 30, with that amount? Sure, I'll figure out what I can do with your 30. But, so that's kind of what's happened for me in the past. Gotten referrals that have worked out really well. Um, so for people that are new at this and not comfortable, I would say do it and change your perspective, and then be a person of your word so that they're comfortable with you and letting let them know what your philosophy is. And then I would also say, be able to bring something to the table and have some experience. I mean, no one's going to really want to give their money to someone who doesn't have any experience.
Mm-hmm.
Be comfortable with that. The other thing is,
So
yeah, go ahead.
so I wanna blow people's minds, and I don't. I think we had this conversation a while ago, and I don't remember the exact number, but how much would you say? Because I know you mainly deal with private money. Will deals with everybody's money, but I know you mainly deal with private money, right? How much would you say that you've raised um, since you've been using private money? And what's the average? And what's the average number? The average amount that you're getting per piece?
Let's see. Probably average oh, 1,980, I think. So if I'm purchasing 110, um,
So on
is
average,
the
people are giving you
average.
110,000, like
Oh
for
no, like
well,
okay. So 180, 180. So a rehab purchase and renovation, right? I would
mhm.
say 180,000 would be like the
And
average.
that's per raise. If what's the average per person who's going to raise money?
Oh,
What's
okay. Average per person. All right.
mhm.
Average per person probably 120.
You say about 20,000?
120.
Oh, so the average person has about 120,000. Let's give you
Yeah.
about
So I
120,000.
was,
Okay.
yeah, if I was going to average it out,
Well, what's happening here? Are you doing something?
No,
I'm only on one.
I can hear you. I was trying to do a split screen where I could see myself here and still see the comments on the Facebook side of things.
Frank said, "Stop pressing buttons."
Okay, no worries. I got it.
um,
So I,
um,
I was I was listening to Sherry. Sherry said she was raising like 180 per deal for rehab, correct?
So
right.
that's an average, but he was saying per person. So I think if it, yeah. So I got
And
some people who are doing 30 to 50,
so
60.
anyway, so anywhere between like 30,000 to 50,000.
Is a small end, you're right?
Right.
But then there's a whole lot of the majority of folks are doing the whole deal and the whole deal, the purchase and rehab.
Because the reason why I'm asking these questions for two reasons. Because I also want to get the estimated amount that you've raised in all. But I'm asking this question for two reasons. Because of the fact that um, there's a lot of people who can invest in real estate in a whole different way, but don't realize that they can. So now you have somebody who's sitting with a certain amount in their 401k or that IRA, and they're like, "Well, I can't do anything with that." And you're saying, let's say I had $50,000 in my 401k right now, and I can actually loan $30,000 to you, and we can negotiate what my return on my investment would be, and I would still be able to make some money and build my retirement portfolio. Um, but on the other side of that, for the believe in private money who's they're investing in real estate and they don't really believe in private money and don't think they can raise a lot. Um, what what is the estimated amount that you think that you've raised when it comes to private money in all?
Like, can I do just a year or
Yeah,
just,
let's
or
do
I'm trying.
let's do a year. Yeah, a year's fine.
So, let's see, probably like five, probably like 5,000.
How much?
I
You
would say.
fade it out.
Okay, so if I look at a year, right, I'm sorry, I
Hmm.
probably raised $500,000 in private money. So if I look at the houses I purchased, what they cost to rehab, I would say at least 500.
So you're saying 500,000 from people that's able to give you 30,000, $50,000 at a
Oh
time.
no,
Let us.
no, no.
I mean, but that's part of the equation, though, right?
Right. If I take their money, the people who are doing 30, 50, 60 plus folks that are doing
Right,
150, 200,000. Yeah.
right.
If I,
I mean,
all the,
it's definitely a combination. But I wanna also make the point of the people who don't have 100, $200,000 in their retirement, but they can still invest and still use that money to do those things. That's the point
yes.
I wanted to try to get out there. Um,
Right.
did
And
Will fall asleep? Like you see pressing
Nah,
buttons
he
again,
looks like
right? Like he sleep. Like, are we
You know the
are
crazy thing? I'm sitting here looking at the camera myself, and I'm saying like, "Damn, I look like I'm really."
you are you like what's going on?
Maybe I gotta adjust this camera or something like that, because it's like the way the light is. It's like I'm kind of like in the cut, depending on where I'm sitting at. So
right.
Yeah. Well, just know Will get a lot of charges. I was um I was on Facebook one day and it said something about a guy got mad
hey,
with his girlfriend and took the refrigerator out. And and I looked, I said, I'm like, damn, Will, that's how you feel? Will text me back. He's like, hold on, I had to do a double take. I thought it was me too. So he get a lot of charges. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that dude looked very similar. I had to like, whoa, that's like, who?
um, what about you, Will? Because you're again, you're getting money all over the place. You're talking about private money, hard money. How are you finding your? Are you using the same hard money lenders every time, or are you finding new hard money lenders to use and new private money investors in your projects?
So prior to this pandemic, I used to turn down money all the time from people that wanted to work with me because I built a system for myself, and it's like I only wanted people that would work in my system, which would be um, 0 points,
Mm-hmm.
zero payments, 100% financing um, for the purchase and the rehab. And um, and if when I start letting new people in, I used to tell them that they need to advance me the first draw up front,
Mm-hmm.
based off if they wanted to work with me. Now that things a little crazy, uh, I can't dictate these same terms that I used to, but man, I still got um, currently like 1.5 in loans out on the street. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's still money out here. It's just changing how it's being dictated. So
Right.
it's always very easy for me to raise money or to get money, period. And I kept the same core lenders because, with one of them, I had, basically $1 million that was dedicated to me. Another lender, 500. Another lender, 300.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a handful of small lenders who say, "Hey, we got 100, 200,000. That we can just set aside that's dedicated for you if you need it." Um, But the more I started moving away from doing townhouses, I started, if they didn't have at least, 180 to 250 to lend, it really wasn't beneficial to me, because it takes the same
So
amount of
send those
effort.
people to me.
What happened?
I
I
said,
said, well, send those people to me. They're not useful tips. The ones that are, below that, yeah.
yeah, but see, they only wanted 100% secured by the deal, right? These are
Hmm.
people that are only going to be in first position. When you're dealing with private money, a lot of times we're able to get. Because I do have a handful of people I was able to get private money from too, but a lot of times you got private money, they're going to give it to you possibly unsecured, so you can pool it together. But these are investors who, like, they always wanted to be like, hey, we'll give you the money, but we need to be in first position, and there can be no second.
Hmm.
So that was a challenge. But for a long period of time, I was doing like 50-50 townhouses, 50% of townhouses, 50% of detached houses. uh,
Hmm.
I started sometime towards the fourth quarter last year, focusing more on detached houses. So it went to like an 80-20 type of thing, because I realized, I mean, it takes the same effort to make, you know, 35 to $40,000 off a townhouse, that I could take that same effort and make, 80 or $90,000 off a detached house. So it
Right.
just really didn't make sense for me to continue down the townhouse path, when, the same effort and energy, you can make twice the amount of money.
Right. But you know what? That brings me to another question with you, Will, because of the fact that with this pandemic and we're talking about social distancing and everything, I know one of your main strategies is to door knock in the neighborhoods where you're doing deals. Has that changed, or are you still doing that even though we're in this pandemic?
Well, I'm in Baltimore City. I primarily invest in Baltimore City, home of the nosy neighbor. So, um, they come outside, they look, I'm speaking, we conversating, you know. So
Right.
the whole door knocking thing isn't gonna fly right about now. And also, like, let's just be honest, you know what I'm saying? Random black guy knocking on your door in the city ain't really always been the best strategy. So, um, when I
Take
see
your
them
mask.
outside, I always introduce myself, give them my business card. I will put my business cards on all of the doors. I will put a sign up to say, hey, if you have any questions or any problems, please call this number, and it would be my direct cell phone number. Um,
Right.
but I always get to know the neighbors there, and for multiple reasons. One, they can keep an eye on your property. They know who to look out for. They can give you the history, the background of the property, and
Hmm.
I ask them, would they like to pick their neighbors, which means, tell me who you know that's interested in buying a house. Let me give them a call. Say,
I
hey,
like that.
gave me
I
your
like
number.
that. Would you like to pick your neighbors?
And then it always ends with, Corey, you know this. Who do you know?
Uh huh.
Who do you know that wants to buy or sell any form of real estate?
Right. Right.
That's how that every conversation gets ended the same exact way. Who do you know that
Mm-hmm.
wants to buy or sell some real estate?
See, we'll,
So,
we'll put people on the game. You know, I'm glad I'm glad I asked you guys to be on. I appreciate you guys for coming on and just sharing your experiences with this whole pandemic. So my last question is, is there anything that you would like to leave the people with, any rehabbers that's looking to either get into the game right now or looking to move forward? Is there any piece of advice that you would like to leave with them right now? And I'll start with Sherry.
I would say I'll repeat one of the things is to educate yourself, farm an area, which is to get familiar with an area so that if um, you're presented with an opportunity, you're able to react immediately, not think about it, guess, wonder, react.
Mm-hmm.
So use this time wisely, find out, like I said, pick a particular area, learn everything about it. Know if 2 units sell as much as is not 2 units, if two bedrooms sell as much as three bedrooms sell. Know if a two bedroom with a bedroom in the basement, which could really be considered a three, and does that sell as much as a three bedroom above grade? So you can quickly, hop on something and use time to go out and talk to lenders. Because if you can talk to lenders now and meet their requirements somehow, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to be that far ahead when the market changes and the ARV, the loan to value goes up. Maybe it's to 65 or 70%. If you're used to being able to work numbers at 50 and come to the table with money, you're just going to be in a better position when things actually do change.
Right.
And then I'll also say this, that partner with somebody. If you have funding, and you're a little leery right now, partner with somebody like me or Will or other folks that are still rehabbing. And you can also, at least for me, I would say I'm open to kind of learning from me, sharing the knowledge while kind of navigate doing a rehab. That's that's a lot of parting remarks, but I'm just saying that biggest thing is like being able to partner, educate yourself, and learning an area so that you can react.
Okay. What about you, Will?
I pretty much agree with everything that Shari said. The most important thing right now is I would say, is to educate yourself and to build your team. And what I mean
Mm-hmm.
by that is that to educate yourself is that I'm a student of life. So, I learn just as much from the homeless person as I do the CEO of, Amazon. There's a lesson. There's a lesson in from everyone. The lesson could be don't do something, 'cause this will happen to them, or some sort of advice. So educate yourself as much as possible in any field that you want to be in. If you want to be a rehabber right now, it's the time. You got some downtime in quarantine. You know, watch videos like this. Jump on YouTube. I mean, there are tons of people right now that's giving away tons of free information.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you can learn from. And the building of your team is, um, you can go to Home Depot and see who's working, who's not working. If you can come out of the house. Uh, So you can build. I mean, because I know some people just aren't working. People that had good crews. A lot of people right now. I mean, guys that I used to be asking for work. Asking did they want to work. 3, 4 years ago, they hit my phone. Hey, buddy, how you doing? You
That's
know,
them calling now.
yeah, they calling now. The same way I might have to be with some of these lenders. I just was talking to Shay about this earlier. I might have to call a few lenders who I turned down money from before. Hey, buddy, what's happening? So to
You
rebuild.
still got some of that money left?
Yeah, definitely that. So rebuild your team, educate yourself, and it's always good to start with a base area, something just have a base that frontwards, backwards, and sideways, right, and then
Mm.
expand it out from there. Me personally, I have 3 zip codes that I primarily work. I mean, I have deals all over the city, but at any given time, 50% of my deals are in these 3 zip codes.
Mm-hmm.
They're all within a triangle of one another, and it's easy for me to just buy property in an area and still make a great living, just even staying in that area.
Right.
So that's the best advice I can say is educate yourself, build your team, and learn the markets in whatever area you primarily want to be in, whether that be Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Anne Arundel County. If it's in the city, I mean, the city and the counties are both big. Find an
Mm-hmm.
area that you are familiar with. A lot of people may do an area that they grew up in, or they may, an area that they had family in. Start there as a base and just broaden it from there.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for viewing. And this has been another episode of Should My Money Be Scared with Agent Cory Banks, Realtor 007. And I will see you guys on Friday at 4, where we'll have another guest speaking about another aspect of real estate. and just put you on the game in this whole situation that we're in. So once again, thank you guys. We have to do this again very soon.
Mhm.
And Will, check your
Anytime.
cash app. Check your cash app, Will.
I'm still waiting on the boss.
All right. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right,
All right,
later.
thanks.
All right.
Bye.